Hey guys, Ozzy here, and welcome to Ozpinions, a repository for my Ozpinion on television series, animes, products, and streaming services. Please stay tuned for more content. Hey guys, Ozzy back. So, I know I missed it last week when it came out, but the second episode of What If dropped last Wednesday.
Where you want to be?
And it was What If T'Challa became Starlord. So it was a story where the Ravagers came to Earth looking for Peter Quill, the son of Ego. And the way they go about looking is, instead of Yondu coming himself, he sends his subordinates to do it, and they have this tracker, and they end up sensing vibranium.
You sure don't seem too.
And T'Challa just happens to come outside of the dome that hides Wakanda just as they're coming down, so he ends up getting taken up. They completely miss Peter over on the other side of the world. So T'Challa ends up getting raised by Yondu and becoming like his son, and instead of not being known like Peter was, he's this really like Robin Hood-ish character who goes throughout the universe stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. And
All this, kid. What you doing out there all by yourself anyway?
Exploring?
you know, all those old tropes from Robin Hood and everything, and he's well known throughout everywhere. It's a really cool story. It's got a lot of levity to it, and even when you get to him meeting the Collector and you're thinking, it's going to be bad, and it gets there, but you've got that levity because you've got like Howard the Duck pops up out of nowhere, and you've got the thing of Thanos is a good guy in this. T'Challa talked him out of doing the snap, out of going after the Infinity Stones, in fact, and he's now a good guy. It's a pretty neat concept. And you get to see Nebula completely different. She's got a full head of hair, and her and T'Challa are kind of a thing.
A Ravager never flies so.
A little bit. It's really cute. The Collector that's where things get a little bit weird when he gets to the Collector and he starts fighting him, because Collector has a Wakandan ship. And there's a bunch of other ships in the background that we can see that MCU fans will be like, oh, I saw that in like Thor Ragnarok or something like that. So you're seeing all this different stuff like that. It's really cool to see. And then he gets to his armory and you can see Thor's hammer, Captain America's shield. He's got Korg's arm, it seems like. It's really kind of like a lot of nods to our universe. It's really neat because it harkens back to a lot of the shows or a lot of the movies that Marvel has put out. So anyone who's been a fan of them can be like, oh, I recognize that in it. And even though it's a totally different take on the tale, you don't have Peter Quill, who's not known, and then he ends up forming the Guardians and everything. And you have T'Challa, who, as we know on our Earth, is the Black Panther.
You had me worried for a second.
He takes up the mantle after his father dies and everything, and he's really very regal and royal, and he has that same thing out in space. He's very regal. He demands that very much. He has that demanding presence where people just kind of like gravitate toward him. It's really neat to see that. And then when you get to Peter, who's kind of like this, at the end you find him find him. He's working at Dairy Queen, and Ego comes in to tell him that he's his father, and it just kind of ends there. I'm hoping they're going to do, again, like I said with the other ones, I hope that maybe in the second season or something like that, what they'll do is they'll do some episodes based on the first season.
Journey to face the unknown.
So a continuation of the story would be kind of cool. Even though What Ifs are usually a one-off, anyone who's a fan of the What If comics knows that usually they're a one-off, or sometimes not even a one-off. Sometimes they're one comic with a whole bunch of different stories in it, and sometimes it's only like a page for a story, or even sometimes it's been as small as a few panels. It's really cool. The What If thing opens up the multiverse for us. It allows everything to be explained as being part of the multiverse for the MCU. It can allow for the ability for the mutants to start coming in. We can start seeing a lot of the things like the X-Men starting to pop up. This will bring in everything that MCU fans have been looking for. All the movies that have been separate can be brought into the fold through this multiverse. It's really great. And all future projects toward things that we've all loved. Like, I loved the X-Men. That was my favorite comic growing up, so I really, when the movies started coming out, I gravitated toward the X-Men more than any other of the franchise. And all of the characters dealing with the X-Men. So, like, the Wolverine movies. And I know it's universally panned, but I take it as its own entry, kind of like a What If type thing. What if Wolverine Origins, you know? It's just, I love the X-Men universe, and I really wanted to see that become part of the bigger MCU, because I wanted to see those characters that I really liked growing up become people who could interact with the characters that I really started to get a lot more respect for and a lot more used to, and wanting to go back and read more of the comics to get more backstory of stuff that happened now that I've become more fans of them through the MCU. Yeah, I knew Captain America, I knew he was Steve Rogers, I knew the backstory, I knew a lot of the little shit about it, but before the MCU, I didn't want to go back and read a lot of the stuff because I didn't have a reason to. I didn't want to read a lot of the new stuff that was coming out about him because I didn't have a reason to. He didn't spark my interest as much. But now that I've seen him on the big screen and everything, and now that I'm doing a lot more stuff for the channels as well, I'm wanting to get a lot more of the trivia, a lot more of the background for a lot of the characters that are going to be upcoming on screen, so that I can talk more in depth about who they are. So this was a really good episode. Again, like the other two episodes, the Captain Carter episode that aired the first week, and then this week also dropped the episode 3, which was What If We Lose Earth's Mightiest Heroes. All of the animation in these is beautifully drawn. It was really heartwarming to hear Chadwick come back as T'Challa. It's really nice to know that he's going to be immortalized in the MCU as the first Black Panther, the T'Challa Black Panther. That they're not going to try to recast him. They're going to go with someone else being the Black Panther, like Siri or someone, or Suri, sorry, or someone else being the Black, taking up the mantle. It won't be someone recast as T'Challa, because Chadwick did such an amazing job. And seeing how he carried over into this episode, and how he still had that very good regal presence that he conveys through his voice, and the animation really does look like the characters. So obviously, whatever animators they used really worked with Chadwick and everything to get his animation, if it's not like a motion capture or something like that, but I don't believe it is. It's animated. It's beautiful, beautiful animation. The colors are very good. They make sure that they highlight in color the things that you're supposed to see. It's really brought out. It's saturated really well. The cinematography of it, the grandeur, how they do the shots of coming in, it just really works. It makes it feel very cinematic and less, just cartoon. It definitely doesn't feel cartoon. There's a difference between cartoon and animated, in my opinion. I should say in my Oz opinion. Because there's a difference between cartoon and animated, in my opinion. And that is that something that's animated has a very much more cinematic feel. It feels like a bigger story. A cartoon, I watched cartoons as a kid growing up. I watched He-Man, G.I. Joe, I watched Thundercats, I watched a lot of cartoons growing up. And I still watch some of them today. And even, Family Guy and stuff like that, that's an adult cartoon. Something that I would be considered animated or more anime is something that's much more cinematic, something that is much more grand. The scale of it is just more, you see a lot more. There's the attention to detail is just way higher. It's a beautiful thing to behold when you find a good animated show, because they can do things on there that are very expensive to put on the screen and would require you to do something like a full-length movie to get something like that up on. Whereas when you animate it, you can do it in this little bite-sized piece of 22 minutes. It's a great way to do it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go down to the bottom and smash that thumbs up like button. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, would you please subscribe to the channel? And if you did both of those things, would you go down to the bottom and find that bell icon and click on it? That's the notification icon, and you'll get notified anytime I upload new content. So, this has been a great time sitting here and talking with you guys about this second episode of What If. There are 9 episodes in total. Episode 3 dropped today. I just shot a video recapping that. I don't know which order I'm going to put these up in, but you will be getting both of them here very soon. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it has given you the impetus to try to go over and check out What If. If so, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think of the show. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Ozzy out. Bye.